Good afternoon to all the audience. The title of my presentation is Being Instagrammable: How to Train Students to the Power of New Social Media. I'm going to show you what I experimented with my students in the courses of History and Theory of Architecture at the American University in Dubai and during a study tour course to Rome. Something that I would like to continue to improve and integrate in other courses. I'm sorry to be absent for this presentation. I would have liked to have feedbacks and comments from you. Therefore, please, if you have, send them by email to my email address acornaro@aud.edu or message in Instagram to Anna Cornaro. Before starting, I think it's necessary a short explanation about the visual contents of my presentation. Since Instagram is an infinite source of images, I decided to limit the visual sources to my Instagram account and AUD students' Instagram account only. The images and the videos in synchro with the presentation are from courses of History of Architecture 3, Theory of Architecture, and a study tour course to Rome. All the other images are from the Instagram accounts of students that are attending Theory of Architecture this summer. Therefore, their work is still in progress. Last note, I'm sorry about the bad resolution of some videos. This is because of the mobile phone recording directly from the mobile screen. But this is the only method at the moment I know to show Instagram account in a dynamic way. Instagram is a social media platform launched in October 2010. It has reached a fast popularity, making it the most interesting phenomenon of the web. In order to understand the importance of such phenomenon, I think some data are useful. The platform counts 1 billion of monthly active users, 500 billion of daily active users, and 400 million users watching stories on a daily basis. For those not familiar with Instagram, a short description can be useful. Users can activate their account, open to public or accessible to friends only, under their name or a nickname and post images with or without filters directly from their mobile phone. Users can also open different accounts, maintaining the possibility to switch from one of their accounts to another directly from the mobile app. The contents of the platform are mainly visual. All photos are in the format of squares that are visualized as single at the moment of the posting and then collected in the account in a scrolling format in a row of 3 images. The app allows the users to follow other accounts and to be followed, so to prioritize the visualization of the posts. Followers can give their like to images, posting comments, and send messages to other accounts. The short text under the image can be completed by hashtags followed by a keyword. In this way, all images with the same content hashtag coming from different accounts are grouped in a dedicated hashtag page open to all. The audience interaction can be enhanced by tags to add on the photo directly or in the short text below, in order to invite specific account to the vision of the post. Recently, more options have been added. Stories are instant short movie published on the photo of the account for 24 hours only. Selected stories can be saved as highlight in the account so to make them visible permanently. The most successful businesses on Instagram seem to be restaurant, bar, and tourism, but there is no doubt that architecture is taking a key role among the users and the posts. The role of the social media in the field is documenting the making of architecture and showing its final product. Recently, offices of architecture started to use more effectively Instagram than other social media, and archistars manage their own account, arriving sometimes, as in the case of BR Kingals, to a pure self-promotion more than the communication of the actual buildings. Specialized web magazines like The Zine and Our Daily publish several articles about the phenomenon and constant reviews of top 10 Instagram accounts. Farshid Musavi admitted in an interview on The Zine that clients are demanding Instagrammability and that creating Instagrammable moment is becoming an important part in architectural briefs. Architecture is acting in a similar way than the hotel sector, where rooms and locations are advertised together with the possibility of posting key hashtags. There is no doubt that the way of designing is changing. One key aspect is light of the interior space, where a bright effect is necessary to take photos and selfies with the best exposure possible. The Australian office Vale architect in 2018 published a digital Instagram design guide, release 1.2, containing key advices to make the business Instagrammable, affecting in this way for sure the design of spaces and buildings. They present a screening of different typology of users. Then the guide lists a key feature to be Instagrammable: natural setting, signage, swimming pool, lighting, murals, tiles and texture, food and drink presentation, operating supplies and equipment. Also, the magazine Wired published an interesting article with the title, "Is This Art? The Rise of Made for Instagram Exhibitions." Instagram is for sure a pop phenomenon, but is bringing to a revolution in the same way the photography did. For sure, the debate is open on the future evolution of the work of art depicted by Walter Benjamin, but the move from the mechanical reproduction to the digital reproduction is impressive. In the case of architecture, the revolution is deep. The camera is not in the hands of expert photographers anymore, and the images are not published on specialized magazines as in the past. We are what we could define a new era of visual democracy, where anyone has the possibility of taking and sharing photos. A new style of communication is growing. Far from the desert spaces published on Domus, Casabella, or Architecture Review, architecture is brought to life by the instantaneous shooting and sharing of selfies and stories. The still life space that only few photographers like Julius Schulman tried to animate and depict in the daily life of the users is now recorded by the users themselves, bringing to an hyper-fragmentation of the representation of architecture and to an hyper-realism never seen before. Architecture offices like OMA do not post professional photos of the building, but instant photos showing how the users perceive the buildings. Instagram doesn't offer only the architect the possibility to be seen, but also to see. It is an infinite and open source of visual information and inspiration that, thanks to the specific account and the possibility to follow hashtags, can be personalized based on needs and preferences. Another interesting aspect is the use of Instagram by architecture schools. In 2016, 60 schools of architecture across North America ran active Instagram accounts. The advantages are several: exposure for school and student, connection with other school, architectural firms, and university alumni. Schools mainly use their account to showcase student work, sharing university life moment, promote and advertise event. In all these cases, Instagram is considered the media, not the source nor the tool. That I think is one of the most interesting aspects instead. I started to understand the potential of the social media in September 2016, when personal reasons brought me to use the app more and more frequently. In May 2017, Iram Pfeiffer published on Arc Daily an article with the title "Why Instagram Should Be a Part of Every Architect's Design Process." The article confirmed my thoughts of Instagram being thinking in images, and, quoting the author, a sort of mnemosine atlas, the same of Abby Warburg, but in the digital square format. I had to confirm that, as in the last century new media became an integral part of the arts, including architecture, in this century digital social media can have the same power. I decided to integrate Instagram in the teaching process of some courses. The willing is not only to show the design process or the actual final result, but to ask students to think about both as something that should live in the digital realm of social media only. Instagram is not only a media to show the process, but a tool to be incorporated in the process. As happened for traditional representation, orthographic projection, axon, or perspective, they can be the final way of representing architecture, but also a way for understanding and analyzing architecture. The first simple move is from the uni format of the paper, still present in BIM and CAD software, to the abstract size of the square format. I decided to integrate Instagram in courses of theory of architecture, placing as final task of the course not the usual production of a final A4 portfolio as I did before, but the publication of a final digital portfolio on Instagram. I'm aware that in this first experiment, I was forcing the instantaneity of the communication system to a more static representation. Final doesn't exist in Instagram, only the series. Even if recently a new hashtag is taking more and more importance, hashtag throwback, the instantaneity of the post remains the main aspect of this social media. And the infinite series of posts with no end only makes sense. But the experiment was anyway successful, making students focus on the potential of the representation, working on single post and the sequence at the same time. The issue, of course, was not only graphic but conceptual. Students were required to read critical text, focus on different topics all along the term, produce collage and model in consequence of the reading, and post the final combination of model, collage, and quotes from the text organized by topics. The collage were in a square format and all models started from the ideal shape of a cube. Topics deeply rooted in the realm of architectural theoretical debate, like the matter of scale, the material and the immaterial, the honesty and the deception, the simple and the complex, took a different meaning or opened different point of view on a wider debate in relationship with the media used to communicate them. Most recently, I converted the method, asking students to publish content not at the end of the semester, but all along the term, creating in this way a learning environment deeply affected by the use of Instagram. The task has different phases. On one side, forcing students to think 2D and 3D objects to be finalized on Instagram, in order for them to understand what is really Instagrammable. On the other side, training students in reading the deception that this kind of social media necessarily incorporate. Deception, discussed in the course for its negative and positive aspect, is also something that students learn to apply in their post, retouching this photo in a similar way that they do in the case of their selfies. The aim is not bringing students to apply a deception that make the Instagram object completely independent by the architecture object, a fake, better version of a bad actual result. The aim is making students understand it and recognize it in order to be able to act, react, think, and design in a world of deception. A third task is forcing students to think about Instagram not only as a personal account where to post selfies or to follow celebrities, but also as a professional tool to follow schools, architects, offices, hashtags that can enrich their background. In order to bring students to this task, I asked them to integrate the study of the main architectural modern movement with some hashtags, able to represent the movement at their best. The use of Instagram as observer can enhance the critical thinking of the students, but only if they first acquire the right sensitivity and they have the right knowledge of the media. The courses of theory of architecture I deliver are exactly trying to create this kind of observer, critical digital thinkers. Recently, with Dr. Ruben Garcia Rubio, assistant professor at the American University in Dubai, we try to incorporate Instagram also in courses of history of architecture. We design an in-class assignment based on the use of mobile apps and Instagram only. In a 40-minute session, students using the app Adobe Photoshop Mix produced a collage space following the spatial concept and the style of Miss Van der Rohe. The submission was not on Blackboard as usual, but on Instagram, using a personal account and tagging the image with the hashtag collagemies. The interesting aspect was managing an instant submission with the help of the mobile phone only. The idea was to give students the task to respond to a requirement in a very short time and publish it immediately, forcing them to deal with basic tools only. I think architects have to be trained to be critical thinkers and problem solvers. And in 40 minutes exercise, both outcomes were covered. The use of Instagram not only engaged more students, but also bring them to see all their collage published in the same hashtag page, forcing them to an instantaneous self-assessment and to the comparison competition with others on the web. This aspect is nowadays deeply stressed by the presence of social media and can be considered an integral part of the contemporary architecture realm. Therefore, students have to learn how to deal with it with positive instantaneous responses. I think what we have to educate students is not only to master digital social media, but also to see potential that are still unseen and to be able to figure out other kind of uses than the standard. In a study tour to Rome in November 2018, I tried to use Instagram for the first time on field. The course, entitled Capriccio Romano, was a combination of daily tours based on the map of Giovan Battista Nolli, organized and guided by teams of students. On-site assignment designed by the same teams and lecture series in collaboration with University of Rome Sapienza and some offices of architecture. I invited students to open group accounts at the arrival in Rome. Instagram, in this case, was useful to share and communicate information on site and to create a learning traveling community that could interact and coordinate on the web. The social media was able to be used in a more unconventional way and for a multitude of purposes. Teams had to preload the basic information necessary to make the guidance of their tours more understandable, engaging, and effective. Students decide to use the squared photo format to upload maps, plan, sections, old blueprint in order to make the exploration of the urban environment more interactive. In some cases, students themselves made proposals on how to use Instagram to respond to certain tasks. They decided, for example, to upload the daily experience of the tour as short movies in the highlights and add in them also the multimedia submission of the on-site assignment. As final requirement, once back to Dubai, students defined keywords that were able to express at the best the urban experience of Rome and uploaded collage under the key hashtag like topography, enclosure, contradiction, layers, continuity, resilience, network, scale, points, light, water, alien. The challenge in both cases, theory of architecture and study tour, was trying to communicate concept more than empty images or mood, a potential that can represent one of the future possible development of the platform, shifting the visual communication to more abstract content and concept. In conclusion, I think the choice of the collage for the Instagram assignment deserves maybe a brief explanation. The collage or capriccio are fragmented visions that leave space for metaphors and interpretation. They are the visual materialization of communicative spaces that, differently than perspectival spaces of the past, are able to translate the modern complexity. This fragmented vision is in perfect empathy with the fragmented real vision given by Instagram. Therefore, a learning experience nurtured in the simultaneous mutual visual exchange of collage and post seems to be the most appropriate way to bring students to the comprehension of architecture. Thank you for your attention. You can visit directly some of the account for further exploration and understanding, and please send comment and feedback to my email address acornaro@aud.edu and to my message to my Instagram account Anna Cornaro. Thank you very much.